Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of X Up for Fleet, the YouTube series where I talk you through a fleet battle in EVE Online. My name is Degnar Oskold, and I am a line member in the Justified Chaos Corporation within the Spaceship Bebop Alliance in Gallente Faction Militia. The battle that you will see in this video is once more between Gallente Militia and the Bastard Cartel, a low-sec pirate corporation. This battle took place during the last few hours of the Gallente offensive to capture the Okomon system, a faction warfare base for over 2 years for the Caldari militia. While Gallente militia was running a large complex in Okomon with a destroyer fleet, the Bastard Cartel arrived in the vicinity with a T-1 cruiser fleet with logistics support. In response, the Gallente fleet commander withdrew the fleet to the nearby Gallente base in the Rakapas system, where we upgraded into a new fleet composition of faction navy cruisers and Tech 2 logistics ships. By overshipping compared to what would be needed to fight the Bastard Cartel, we hoped to either crush them completely or intimidate them into leaving the area. The Bastard Cartel scouts quickly saw our new composition and their fleet would not jump into Rakapas to fight us. Instead, they moved into Kadama, and we had assumed that they had been successfully intimidated and were trying to take the long way round to avoid Rakapas and return home. So we tried to cut them off, ultimately getting into Kadama with them, but unable to pin them down on grid. It seemed that they didn't want to fight, so the Gallente fleet commander decided to take the fleet back to Okomon and run the large plex there. Unknown to us, the Bastard Cartel were in fact very interested in fighting our fleet, but they wanted to do it on their own terms. They followed the Gallente fleet back to Okomon, and while the Gallente faction navy cruisers were sitting at a large complex, the Bastard Cartel quickly warped into a medium complex. Scattering the Gallente pilots inside who were trying to run the site, the Bastard Cartel prepared their trap for us. This battle will involve a total of 57 pilots, 25 from the Bastard Cartel and 32 from Gallente militia. The Gallente fleet is based around a core of 10 Augurer Navy issue cruisers, together with 5 Guardian class advanced logistics cruisers, 2 Ashimu class webbing and neutralizing cruisers, as well as a number of support ships, including many destroyers and frigates which were in system to do plexing. By contrast, the Bastard Cartel's fleet is based on a core of just 9 Vexor T-1 cruisers, repaired by 5 Augurer T-1 logistics cruisers. The Bastard Cartel also have a Hugin combat recon ship for webbing, a Sacrilege, and a number of smaller support ships including advanced destroyers and frigates. In theory, the Bastard Cartel's fleet is heavily outnumbered and outgunned. However, 2 of those support ships which they bring are a Magus and a Pontifex, command destroyers which have an ability to jump ships around them away from their current location. As you are about to see, these 2 ships really shape the fight to come. We join the fight as the Gallente fleet is warping to the medium plex and is about to enter.
Nobody slide yet. Do not slide.
The Gallente fleet lands outside the complex and the fleet commander waits for all ships to exit warp and form up in position.
Everybody here? We're sliding in 3, 2, 1. Slide. Everybody slide. Hold your invulns when you land.
Warp drive active.
As the first fleet members land on grid, we realize that the Bastard Cartel actually have a few more Augurers now than they did earlier, but this should be still okay for our fleet to handle.
This Pontifex,
MJD
this Pontifex, followed by the Magus.
We're getting jumped.
How many of us did they get?
Logic got jumped.
Logic got jumped.
We
A
all
lot of us got
jumped.
jumped.
A lot of us
Oh.
got jumped.
Only half. We need to get over there. Start burning toward each other, guys.
Yeah. Prop mods on. Start burning back toward the button. Herrick and the Pontifex is primary.
They got double jumped. They're 150 off.
Fuck.
The Gallente fleet has been split in half by the 2 micro-jump destroyers doing a double jump maneuver. We are split into 2 sections, each 150 kilometers apart and unable to support each other.
How many Guardians do we have with us?
There's Chit.
If you guys got an Ishimu jumped in some shit, just start broadcasting some ogres, dude. They got ogres on you. Kill some of those drones. Slow the kill.
The Gallente fleet is now in a very bad position. The Bastard Cartel were able to jump themselves with half the Gallente fleet, and those Gallente cruisers fighting the Bastard Cartel at point-blank range have only a single Guardian with them for support.
Okay, we lost Chit.
And now that one Guardian has been destroyed, and those cruisers fighting Bastard Cartel have no more repairs in range.
Load back to Gleam and load tracking speed scripts.
Squid's bounce.
Don't worry about the squid.
Start targeting heavy drones, guys.
You're gonna have to web the ones you want to kill.
Yeah,
Destroyers move into range and start
lost
blapping
our-
off drones.
Our Ishimu over here, dude.
Almost in range.
We're probably gonna get fucked here, but
The Gallente are in real trouble now. Split in half and unable to break through the repairs of the 5 Augurers, the fleet commander orders a focus on the enemy drones instead. Meanwhile, the fleet continues to slowly close the gap between its two halves.
Alright, we're getting in range.
There is finally some good news for the Gallente fleet as the Guardian Wing Commander confirms that they're beginning to enter range to provide repairs. With one Ashimu destroyed already, the fleet is still struggling to hit targets without webs, but that is all about to change.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
So you rebroadcast your primary, Muumu's getting into range.
Finally, the Ashimu that wasn't jumped is in range and it can start webbing targets, slowing them down to be hit.
This Vexor, primary this Vexor, start shooting him with fucking multi-frequency, just blast him.
Destroyers, please come into the Plex, burn over, start killing drones.
As the Gallente fleets start getting closer together, the fleet commander takes advantage of the increased firepower to turn his attention back to the Bastard Cartel ships and try to break the tank on one of their Vexors. But a new problem now arises.
We got the Mumu with us.
Yeah, but I'm still 60 off, bro. I'm trying.
Try to web this Pontifex. They're gonna jump us again.
MJD destroyers can rip apart a fleet every 3 minutes.
We gotta kill these fucking MJD Desis.
I have them scrammed for now.
We need webs on it. You know what? All newts on the Pontifexes and the Magus.
I've scrambled the Pontifex. It's not going nowhere.
They're pulling drones, they're gonna go for a jump soon.
Somebody scram the Magus.
The Bastard Cartel's Pontifex is taking damage, but is also getting repaired by the Augurers, cancelling out all that damage.
Tell me when you get webs on the Pontifex.
Webs on the Pontifex.
Primary's the Pontifex. Go to tracking speed scripts.
They
boys.
jumped us again. Back into ourselves.
The Bastard Cartel's Magus has made a mistake and now the battle turns in our favor. Our separated fleet was jumped, but not further away from us. It was jumped to another point about the same distance, so they lost an opportunity. Secondly, the Pontifex, which was getting repaired before, has now had its repair ships jumped out of range, and it dies very quickly.
Target this Hugin.
Point Hugin, scram Hugin.
Any destroyers available, get into that medium, kill drones. Start with medium and heavy drones.
You can hear for yourself how much more confident the fleet and its commander now sound on voice comms. One of the enemy micro-jump destroyers is now blown up, and on top of that, our fleet is slowly continuing to draw closer and closer together, and the two halves are able to support each other better and better. The fleet turns its attention to an enemy Hugin, which is one of the most expensive remaining ships that the Bastard Cartel have on field. The fleet is starting to do much better now, but the enemy logistics ships continue to be a problem. Although we focus on the Hugin, the fleet commander starts trying to decide to keep the Augurers on field and kill them next.
And spread points across Augs.
Hugin's webbed.
Guys, switch to long range ammo while you're burning back down toward them and start smashing that Hugin still. Everybody else start shooting the Magus.
I've been jammed by someone.
There's sensor dampening.
The Hugin also has ECM drones.
If you're in little tackle and you got that Hugin, just finish him off. We're getting close to their main fleet again. Get me Ashima webs on that Magus, please.
Magus is 100 off me, dude. I'm like,
We need you with the main fleet.
you got jumped away from me, bro.
Dr. James and that Avon that's about to slide in, go scram their Magus, please.
Where's that?
If you're in an AUG and you're
He's
close to
dead.
the Magus, just dump all your nukes onto it. Everybody else, load, multi-frequency, and shoot.
Trigo's primary, phase reps.
Primary this Augurer. This Augurer is primary.
Fucking confessor.
Kaz and the Augurer is primary. Kaz and the Augurer is primary.
The Augurers are now the primary target for the fleet, but they aren't really taking significant damage. They're still managing to move around relatively quickly under their afterburners, while the beam lasers from most of the Navy Augurers can't hit them.
If you're in a destroyer, get in there.
Kaz and the Aug is still primary.
The Galente fleet commander starts getting frustrated at how little damage the Augurers are taking.
Not even apply to an Aug.
Not without webs, you won't. Go for a Vexer.
Wayray and the Omen. Wayray and the Omen.
I'm getting close to Kaz now.
Alright,
Now
let
I
me
have
know when.
webs.
Everybody else shoot the Omen. Switch back to optimal range scripts.
If you're in a battle, just kill their fucking drone.
Spread points, please. Wayray and the Omen, primary. They're starting to bail, I think. Tell me when you've got Kaz web, please.
Kaz's web.
Guys, switch back to Kaz right now. Kaz.
The Augurer of Kaz from the Bastard Cartel is now webbed, meaning it's moving much slower and will be an easier target for the beam lasers on the Navy Augurers to hit.
Followed by Arcturus. Can we get a point on the sacrilege?
The Bastard Cartel Sacrilege is one of the most expensive ships on field and will make a prize on our kill board.
Spread your nukes across the other AUGs that
Yep,
aren't primary.
Yep.
For Nogs too, guys. Kaz is still primary.
While the fleet continues to take down the Augurer of Kaz, the fleet commander orders ships to spread their energy neutralizers amongst the other Augurers. By draining their capacitors, we prevent them from repairing ships, including the primary target, which will allow us to destroy the Bastard Cartel fleet faster.
Kaz is primary, guys. Dump all your nukes onto the other AUGs. Come on, we gotta break him.
I can jump them off, I think.
No.
The odds. The odds? You don't want them jumped off.
You're gonna fuck us up again.
Yeah, I'm right on top of the others.
Switch webs to Arcturus, all damage on our...
Even though the fight seems to have turned in our favor at the moment, the Bastard Cartel are trying to turn it back in their favor instead.
It's on you again, Predator. Predator and a Magus is jumping you guys. He jumped our Logi.
Fuck.
The Bastard Cartel's Magus managed to survive our efforts to kill it, and far from that, it even managed to jump our logistics ships away from us, preventing our own fleet from getting repaired.
Guys, Battlers, get in there, keep killing drones. Primary the medium drone.
Arcturus is
still
breaking.
primary.
Arcturus
Arcturus
is
is
gonna
still
break.
primary.
Arcturus Helios Augur is finally breaking, but some fleet members are getting frustrated at how damage is continuing to get split across multiple different targets.
Switch back to Kaz now. Kaz is primary in the AUG.
Your movement is happening.
Battlers, get in there, kill drones.
Can you broadcast again? Can you broadcast again? Remember?
Svetko Mira is going to be secondary after Kaz. Kill him right now. Svet. This dude.
Overheat on silver if you can. Down.
Sorry.
The Bastard Cartel are now losing Augurus, but they've also managed to take down Silver's Ashimu, which is the final one we had on field for the Gallente militia.
Lodging, are you burning back
Without the
into us?
Ashimu's
Right.
webs, it's going
Yeah.
to be harder for our
Sacrilege.
cruisers to hit
Sacrilege
targets
now.
with their beam lasers.
Can we not primary this Magus and kill him?
We don't have webs on him anymore. Just dump your newts on him. Wayray and the Omen now. Spread your points.
Spreading points amongst the enemy fleet prevents them from warping off and allows their destruction in detail.
After Wayray, this Vexor. Shit, we're having tracking issues. Alright, switch to the Vexor now of Illidari. Switch to the Vexor of Illidari. Followed by Terrible.
Badlish, you're doing great. They don't have any heavy drones left. Just get in there and keep gutting their drones.
Illidari, then Terrible. Now Terrible.
They really don't like my Celestis.
They're bailing. Alright, there's a squiz, never mind. Lock up Lewis. Lewis after Terrible. Spread points. Lewis now. Lewis now. Lewis. Dump all your newts onto primaries. We got no points with us now, do we? Fuck. Marcus Nix now. This guy. Lock up Tilburn. Lock up Tilburn. He's at range.
Magus is coming back in.
Lock up this Magus. Lock up the Magus, guys. Fire on the Magus. Fire on the Magus right now. When he gets into newt range, dump all your newts on him, please.
He's going for a jump prematurely.
He got some drones. They're gonna fuck him. Alright, target Tilburn. Everything on Tilburn now.
They are running out of drones.
Alright.
The last surviving command destroyer from the Bastard Cartel messes up his third jump attempt. In the meantime, our efforts to cut down the enemy drones is bearing fruit as the incoming DPS from the enemy fleets begins to drop sharply.
Toro scrammed. And a Vex.
Magus warped up.
Victoria?
Yeah.
After Vio dies, we're going for Victoria.
You guys aren't even on grid at the large anymore.
We're at the medium.
Oh, you're at the medium? Oh shit.
There's always that one guy in every fleet who manages to misunderstand where the fight is and arrive at completely the wrong place. By this point, the fight is basically over and we're just doing cleanup of the remaining ships that weren't able to escape field.
Alright.
What about Mikhail? Mikhail Vector?
What the hell just happened?
Mikhail Vector's here.
Kill Mikhail. Or Michael. Switch to long range ammo and do it.
Scrammed on
Squid
Kill.
coercers on
And then
grid.
free fire on these coercers.
They're at the button. Oh no, did they just jump onto us?
Yeah, they're on us.
The last handful of cruisers from the Bastard Cartel are finally destroyed and the Gallente militia are left holding the field.
Free
Although
fire
this
on
is
coercers.
technically a victory, it certainly doesn't feel like it, especially given that we started with a significant
Jesus.
superiority over the Bastard Cartel's fleet. In the end, Gallente Militia lost about 800 million ISK
Got
worth of
Magus
ships,
ground.
and the Bastard Cartel took slightly more damage, losing about 1 billion ISK
What
worth of
Magus?
ships.
There's no Magus.
I hope you enjoyed
No,
watching
there's-
this video.
Oh,
If you'd
okay.
like to do
Another
fly with
mission.
us, join Gallente
Kill it.
Militia, sign up with one of the major corps, and then remember, X up for fleet.